So thank you for joining us. We're talking to Laura from L.A. Taco, who's
let's let her explain who she is and what website she is coming from.
My name is Laura, or as some call me Laura, and then I proceed to fucking them up. Just kidding.
I'm reading your name on the Zoom right now, and I think I know how to pronounce that name.
But I am the host of the L.A. Taco Live with Laura show on YouTube. Soon to be a podcast. We're turning it into podcast form too.
Really?
Yes. I'm also an educator on the side. I run an Instagram page called Hungry in Islos. Let me tell you my side gigs first.
Okay.
I run that page, and that's just because I enjoy shouting out people of color owned and family owned businesses and restaurants and like food pop-ups in and around East LA. And I started that in 2016. And then I also work as an educator for my full-time job, as if that is not enough. And I am the assistant director of a cultural center that does programming focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then cultural education. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
I'm like, am I allowed to say it on here?
It's up to you.
At one of the local universities, because after that drunk history, I might not have my job assigned.
It's Harvard.
It's Harvard. It's
West Harvard.
An Ivy League in
yeah. Yeah, it's a school in the Boston area.
And we all know how Boston feels about drinking. They frown upon it.
Yeah.
Clearly. Don't do it.
Especially on St. Patrick's Day.
I was going through, some of your videos and some of the things that you've written, and I wanted to create a questions, and it ended up just being a list of food in the city to eat.
1,000%. I'm like, what do you do, Laura? Oh, food. What do you enjoy doing? Oh, food. What do you like talking about? Food.
What part? Where you grew up? I assume you grew up in the city.
Yes.
Which part exactly?
I was born in Bellflower, but I don't claim that because who knows where the fuck Bellflower is. 1, 2, it wasn't my mom's fault. Kaiser was there. 3, I'm from Islos. So I was raised in East LA my entire life, and we have generations and generations here. So, it's not Boyle Heights because people try to fight me whenever I say I'm there. But it's neighboring Boyle Heights, and I'm right in Islos, close to Montebello, close to Monterey Park, but also close to El Sereno, also close to Lincoln Heights. And the neighborhood I actually grew up in is City Terrace. Okay. So it's a little unincorporated city or town. I don't even know what the fuck they call it. But
I think it might be a neighborhood. What's your streets, if you don't mind saying it?
Oh, wait. Dan or me?
You.
He knows my street. He knows exactly where I
know where this guy lives.
He's trying to triangulate. He's trying to triangulate where you live.
Yeah. You are pointing at me, like, given how the squares are set up, but I'm like, wait.
I forget that pointing at the computer is not the same as pointing at a person in real life, which is also rude. Yeah.
What streets are you from? So I'm not comfortable saying the hardcore ones.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Real close to Cesar Chavez. Okay. And on the other side, Pomeroy.
Okay.
Yeah. And then now I'm like closer to Eastern.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out what food is close to you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. All of it. Literally.
All of it.
Yeah.
I hate because you mentioned where it says where your local Kaiser was, because my whenever I have to put like where were you born, and I have to always on my I shouldn't be saying we're giving up too much information. I was going to say when I put on my security questions,
like y'all want my fucking passport number.
If you could send some DNA over, that would be super duper.
Let's just say that the location of the Kaiser I was born in, I'm not proud to say like that's where I was born.
Simi Valley. Thank you, everybody. I'm Daniel Zaffron.
Like they have hospitals there.
Yeah. So born and raised Islos, and my grandpa migrated here. So the house that I actually live in is a part of a strip of property he purchased.
Oh wow, really?
When my dad was a kid. So we have generational land here in East Los. So yeah, it means more to me because of that, because they have their histories. Like I shared with y'all on our show, my grandparents met at the Grand Central Market. I think I said that on the show.
I'll remind you what you said. Yeah.
They met there. And then, so even today I want to have my dad on the show too. And just, I love hearing people's historical, like what their experiences were on the streets that look so different now. And today I was talking about going to Denver. I'm going to visit Denver soon in April.
Mhm.
And I said I really wanted to see the Stanley Hotel because I'm a huge horror fan. And I've already seen one location in Portland, like the outside where they filmed. I forget what the heck the name of that place is. I was just
Yeah. The one that's like behind a mountain or something.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm there in January of 2021. And so I was like, I want to go to the Stanley. And my dad was like, I saw The Shining at when I was on a forced date, because my dad's dramatic. I did not fall off the tree. Let's just say that. Like, I am very much connected. Like, you think I'm a character, my dad is 1,000. And I was like, a forced date? I was like, where'd you go? And he's like, the Garfield. It used to be right there on Whittier Boulevard near Concourse, passing Garfield High School. And I was like, damn. And I'm thinking, like, I thought of y'all. I was like, we need to have these folks that grew up in these neighborhoods and how they've evolved, you know?
Yeah. I grew up in Echo Park and also in a legacy home. And I just love hearing like, oh yeah, there's like right by the gas station, there used to be a club and it was going great and everybody would party there. And then one guy got shot and they closed it down.
Right.
Like the Susu Club. And like just hearing like weird double featers that would like at theaters, and that theater is now like at the Mohawk Bend or something. And it's so weird to see, like, you know, our parents and our grandparents' generation talking about stuff that sounds so idyllic, and then you get to us and like, oh, that's a medical center now. That place where you met grandma it's a hospital now.
Right.
So everything's a Kaiser.
Everything's a Kaiser now. Yeah. And hotspots.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
The Stanley Hotel is pretty cool. I was there a few years ago, and it's make sure to try to sneak up to the Shining room.
Ooh, so they don't let you in? Because apparently my partner's aunt is gonna book a tour for us, and I'm like, book it the spookiest time you can. I want to get fucking scared. I want to feel, even though it was all a movie, you know, but I want to feel the spirits.
The tour, they didn't take us upstairs. I don't know if it's just because it was the night tour and we couldn't be like knocking on these people's door like, can we see the bathtub?
Is there a naked lady in the bathtub? I'm just curious real quick. Sorry.
Yes, it's my wife. But we managed to, because you have to, there's like a doorways you have to have a key to get through, but we were there when the cleaning people were going through, so we snuck in and got to see everything.
Rascal.
Yeah, but
you
don't tell the Stanley
went on the
Hotel.
night tour.
We were on the night tour, but then we came back the next day so that we could sneak up. And we got all of it was like Ocean's 11. We got all of the schedules of the cleaning crew to.
Maybe I should tell them. I'm going to shoot a text right now and be like, yo, book the day tour. Night tour is not it.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be responsible for you not getting
blame it on you 1,000% if I don't see the tub, okay?
Daniel, you can talk to this. Was it true that the only way to get up was a snow cat that took 2 days to get up, and by the time you got up, it was already too late?
It's all true. And Melissa got axed
right away.
When we got
almost immediately walking into the door. So let's talk about.
Let's talk about not Colorado.
You jumped all over me.
Don't step over. You jumped over my hosting. I was just going to ask how you got involved with LA Taco.
That's what I was going to ask. All right.
Oh, well, my question was.
We're on the same page, and we love to see that. That's a great question. So it happened very interestingly. And I actually just had a Galentine's with all the women of LA Taco, and we all had similar stories. And I also think that just makes it dope because the universe just aligns a lot of us for different reasons. But I was a theater kid. Always wanted to be out there, like meeting people, doing shit. Didn't know how. Got a master's in education, and I was like, I'm doing this work. And I do creative work in that realm. But around 2016, I started the food page in order to do that. Like, how do I connect with community? How do I do that? Like, be funny online too, you know, whatever the heck.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2020, so 4 years later, I'm a little more established in that folks know who I am and know that I post about food in East Los. I'm not a bougie food critic. Listen, but I do want to get better in understanding and explaining. But my experience is my experience, and I also think that's valid. So LA Taco, around the time of the George Floyd protests, there was a famous carnitas vendor. They're about to open their brick and mortar, I think. See, because I'm not a hater, and I do see them. But Carnitas El Momo, I don't even know if I should name them because we stir up the drama.
That's my security answer.
Is it? Are y'all fans of El Momo?
I've never had it.
I've never had it. Very curious now.
Yeah, like Carnitas is my favorite, but I know they're really esteemed in the neighborhoods, and so they were posting All Lives Matter on their Instagram.
Ooh.
Over and over and over. And a bunch of folks who are fans were like, yo, do you know what you're saying? Like in the comments, like kind of like lovingly calling them out is what I noticed at first. And then the person whose name is Billy who verbally harassed me through Instagram for several months after the story. The story's coming. My bad. I have a lot of like drama to it. I love making stories longer than what they need to be. So essentially, I commented, also coming from a loving place, and I was like, hey, I don't even remember what it was now. I'm sure I could find the screenshot somewhere, but hey, it's deeper than all lives really mattering. You know, like all lives do matter, but at this point in time, Black folks are being targeted at higher and alarming rates. And clearly we're seeing them being criminalized and murdered, right?
Yeah.
Like the attack on Black people is way higher at rates than any other community. So right now we're standing up, and this is why Black Lives Matter is what we're saying right now, is what we're standing for. Sent it. Didn't think I said it disrespectfully enough to get trolls, and I didn't. But then Javier came into my DMs, and I had known him. Like, he's like a food god in my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's so cool. Him and his wife are like literally couples goals. And he's like, hey, I saw your comment on Carnitas and Momo. Would you want to write a piece? And I said, the last thing I wrote, and I am a writer, but academic has been my writing, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think I wrote a children's poems book when I was maybe like 8, somewhere tucked in my dad's drawer of all the things we did as kids. But I was like, write an article? I'm terrified. Like, I've never done that. And I had actually talked about pitching to L.A. Taco like years prior. Mm-hmm. But after I still laugh. I'm sure I still have it saved. But it was literally like, what's better? Burritos from Alan B's or burritos from Lupa's Burritos? And like, yeah, like that was my pitch. Old school ass burrito places that don't really need that attention. It's not even a viral all this stuff. So I said, you know what, fuck it. He said, I'll guide you along the way. Oh, cool. If you need any support, I'm sure you got this. I really appreciated your comment. And I think this could be a powerful piece given everything that's happening right now. Mm-hmm. So this is big. I think the title was, this is bigger than carnitas, how an anti-Black carnitas. I can't remember. Anti-Blackness and carnitas was in the title. And the community was stirred. The community was like.
Her first piece already stirring shit.
Listen, it's my personality type. So I said it figures, right? I got DMs from people saying, thank you so much. I feel so seen as like a Black Mexican or as just a Black person, like where you're addressing anti-Blackness. And listen, I might have been very harsh, but I also claimed in the piece that we're all inherently born in an anti-Black world. Like that's just by default, right? We all have the capacity to do things that are anti-Black. Mm-hmm. I just happened to use Billy from Carnitas and Momo as an example because I shot him a DM. I said, hey, can you answer some questions? Like I did ask him his thoughts, and he said he wouldn't use it again. I included that in the piece. Yeah. But a lot of people lack critical reading skills, and all they read was, fuck Carnitas and Momo, don't support them, and blah. Like that's what I wrote. And so a lot of Latinx folks were like, you turn your back on your own people. And I was like, Black people are my people. Like all this, like it was problematic, but that's how it started, that piece. Uh-huh. Shortly after, they asked me to write a piece about Mystics Cafe, which is a really dope goth coffee pop-up here in Islos. It posts up on the corner of Cesar Chavez and Rowan.
Okay.
By the Superior and the CVS. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with the car wash.
Is that where the big split is? No, I'm thinking
it's a couple of blocks down. It's close to Los Cinco Puntos. Yeah, it's like a half, maybe less than half a mile away from Los Cinco Puntos. Okay. I said, spooky coffee, sign me the fuck up. And at this point, I'm a little more confident, right? I'm like, I've written one piece. And then after that, they invited me to the LA Taco Slack, which is like the virtual, like the newsroom.
Wow.
And then that's where the story continued. I think I'm like 10 or 9 stories in, which isn't much because then I started my video work.
Right.
So it kind of evolved into a little bit different than writing, but I've been enjoying it so much. That was a very long way to answer your question.
No, that was perfect. Thank you.
That's like everybody. I feel like that's a lot of people on social media's dream of like, I'm going to make the perfect post and someone from this website is going to notice it. And it actually happened to you.
That's the thing. I did not. I was like, let me just be a little nice and have this Carnitas fool out because clearly people are upset at him. And then, so much abuse came from that though. I mean, which I love because low key, I come from a mother that loves to fight and not even in a toxic way. Like we make jokes. Like we're like, sometimes we get really defensive and then we like laugh about it. We laugh it off. So it's not like toxic. Yeah. But she's like, I used to cuss into a mirror when I was little because I wanted to fight with somebody I didn't have to fight with. That's why I was trained by. So when internet trolls come for me, if it's the right Tuesday afternoon, baby, you got something coming because I'm here for it. I'm here for the trolls sometimes. And then I know when to set boundaries for my mental health.
smart. That's all we ask. I'm very happy to know that you were a theater kid, because I was kind of curious watching your videos. Like, are you a writer that learned how to be a host, or were you a host that was like, I gotta put this on paper too? Is it too much?
Yeah, no. And people like, a lot of people don't know my background, but I don't know if y'all remember Sábado Gigante. Are y'all familiar with Sábado Gigante? Like Don Francisco, that, Univision Saturday nights. It was the show to watch.
I loved I watched probably like 20 minutes of it, but I just loved the idea of it. It's so great.
It was legendary. Okay. Chilean host, Don Francisco, grandfather to us all, uncle to some of us, father to some, I don't know, just immaculate show. And I used to like wish I was one of the little girls dancing and like the little kids dancing segments. I wished my parents would fly me to Miami or wherever it was filmed to fucking put me in. But I let go of that dream because it was like, I don't think I'm gonna be famous. I always said as a kid, it would be so cool if I could be a food writer. And then it's like, my dad is really big on education, and I got my bachelor's degree in English, and I got my master's degree in education, right? And so it was a big thing in my family, but it was kind of like this unspoken dream that I felt and knew. And in little ways, it's coming to fruition, which one day I'm gonna be an actress, and I'm gonna say it. I say it everywhere I go on. I'm like, listen, whether it's a tiny cameo, or a little voiceover, we're doing it.
Or you're gonna be one of the dancing little girls.
Put pigtails on
some makeshift Sábado Gigante, which I'm down for. But yeah, I love being extra. I love being on stages. I love talking to people. I've never been shy, and I've always been down to like make friends or talk to people. And so being able to do that on camera for me, it's like I'm talking to the camera, but I know I'm talking to a lot of people, so it's even more fun in my heart,
Yeah, I get that.
That was my next thing, was asking you about what LA Taco Live is all about for people who haven't seen it.
Yeah. So what we do, what I say in my little spiel every intro, is that we make the stories that are published come alive.
That's good.
So all of the writers and all of the team, I owe everything to them, because first of all, they believed in me to do this, or they're giving me the opportunity, I should say. Right. Okay. And everyone is so talented. Like today, they just put out a piece where they interviewed, I forgot old boy's name, and he's not old boy. Wow. System of a Down guitarist.
Oh, right.
I don't know his name. Ooh.
I know. Not Surge. It wasn't Surge. It was
Shot.
I saw the headline. I'm like, I'm gonna look at this later, and I didn't. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Chavo. I don't.
Let's say both.
El Chavo del Ocho.
Nailed
Is he in System of a Down now?
How big is that band?
Special guest.
Please welcome El Chavo del Ocho.
All like heavy metal. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so they just put out a piece about him and his favorite food, or taco in Los Angeles. So everyone is super talented in LA Taco. And so the owner has been really wanting to like kind of grow, and it's always been kind of like an idea to get bigger in media as well, aside from like journalism, right? And so yeah, I was asked if I wanted to host, and I said a live show for 2 hours. Never done it, but sure, And I think that's the cool thing, is that everyone's just supporting each other, and we're reaching out to really cool people that have done this and can support us. It's all community built, really. So it's really cool. Like for me, it means that I get to meet cool people like you all. And I've been a fan of y'all's from the piece that y'all wrote for LA Taco, the spooky piece. What was the title of that?
The spooky piece by LA Weekly. I don't remember. It was like 13 Mockingbird Lane. It was something. I don't know.
It was about the monsters.
I'm also grateful because Javier he's been very nice to us about like allowing us to pitch stuff and allowing us to write things, more importantly, because some people let us pitch things and they do not let us write them, but he lets us do it, and he puts it online, which is even better.
Amazing. And he's actually, I found out about y'all through Javier. So shout out to Javier, because I think one thing I really appreciate to him is he gives a platform to people who wouldn't otherwise have it, right? Absolutely. Like a lot of like a lot of these like publications like only accept certain types, like people who maybe majored in journalism or are actually writers in that way. And I wrote an Instagram comment, and I'm over here like, this is why Academy does are anti-Black, and he's telling, but at the same time, it's like supporting us and refining that, right? Or like this information needs to get out there, and at the same time, this information needs to be palatable to the community. Yeah. And I feel like many times, like some journalism isn't,
Yeah.
or accessible to a lot of people. So yeah, I love it. And we pretty much invite the people that either write the pieces or anyone who we think is doing interesting things happening in Los Angeles. One time we were going to try the Taco Bell wings, we have that vibe too, but then pandemic struck harder than it did. So we had to cancel. So It's really just about talking all things LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like, because it kind of feels like what LA Weekly used to be, like when it was good, maybe 40 years ago or something, where it was actually like people, because there's we've all got to censor ourselves in this, but I don't want to call anybody out. Some of the other websites that we've tried connecting with around Los Angeles, let's just say their names might also start with the letters LA, but don't end in taco. And they're just, it's exactly that. Like, it feels like, oh, you didn't go to whatever journalism school. Like, why would we feature you? Why would we let you write for us if you haven't been published in the Wall Street Journal already? So I like how, it feels very equal and welcoming at LA Taco.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I think that a lot of folks come in being nervous, and then it's just like, oh shit, this is a dope ass group of people who are also like hard workers, right? And who have earned the merit to like be on really cool other publications, but it's not elitist. And it's not gatekeeping from these opportunities. So I love it.
Yeah. When we went to, we were invited over for the show, and I kind of didn't know what to expect. And suddenly we were walking in this old like a craftsman home, and we go into the big, and I like each step of the way, I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen next. And you're right, like everybody was supporting each other, and it was just like it wasn't it's a small group of people doing this, but everyone was super friendly, everyone was super nice, and I'm like, oh, this is the way that it should be done. Like, everybody is just sort of on their own, like.
Right.
A couple people were.
This is the way it should be always.
Yeah, but it felt very like a little community that LA Taco built that I was like super happy to just like dip a toe in was so cool. So
yeah, it was cool. And that studio is Mod Pod Studios in Pasadena. So it's actually a space we're renting, but I had the same experience. When I walked in, I was like, am I about to get kidnapped and taken into a basement?
We were. When we walked in, they're like, well, you're going in the basement soon.
Yeah, I've seen that part of the Zodiac. I remember. The basements are not good. I wanted to ask, like, you have done a lot of interviews and you've talked to, creators and people of influence and then just like regular people. Has your idea or any beliefs you had about the city sort of shifted, or have you learned anything new about LA?
I think if anything, it just reinforced my perception that LA is made of hustlers.
Yeah.
To be honest, because I know my own experience and I know like my generation, like my family and art, their migrant story to Los Angeles. But when I tell you that I am baffled and also like proud to know, and it's not just Latinx folks, right? But I feel like the majority of the folks that we have had to identify as Latino, and there's been other people, but the business owners that come on and talk about like, oh, the pandemic happened, lost my job, so started a brewery. The pandemic happened, lost my job, so started a botanical line. Like, I just think Black, Indigenous, people of color in general, like, we're in Los Angeles specifically, are fucking hustlers. Like, I feel like it just reinforced that idea that I know to be true, more than anything. It has also introduced me to the ways in which LA has shifted, right? When I hear, like, when we had you all on and just talking about like the 1800s and like communities, or when we think about like the Japanese, the Jewish communities that were here not that long ago, but kind of long ago,
Yeah. Long enough for us. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But
I'm 200 years old, so this is like nothing to me.
I'm glad that you've got that in.
Yeah, so it just shows me that the city is full. I know we see it in movies where it's like, I'm moving to LA and Hollywood to become a star, but I'm like, the people that are already here are stars in their own way, and now I get why everyone why everyone has been thirsty to come here. Like, we're a pretty dope ass bunch.
Yeah, it's always been for almost a century now. Like, you come to the West, you come to California, you come to Southern California, and you could reinvent yourself. And you get here, and you can't just be lazy and sit by the beach. Like, you get here, and then you start working.
Some people can.
Some people can.
Well, that's what we were talking about in that one episode we did, where we had people write in about what LA I don't even remember what we asked them, but we were talking about Los Angeles, and it's kind of like everybody's trying to win the lottery in a certain way, like a different, not maybe sometimes literally the lottery, but like the lottery to you, whatever you think like the pinnacle of your success is, and you just keep trying.
Yeah.
It's
Dreams
depressing at times. Yeah.
It is fucked up. But for a lot of us, it's home, and it's like whatever happens is like fulfilling that, right?
Yeah.
But that's so true. I can't imagine leaving cross country and coming here trying to be an actress and like having to work as like, you know, like leaving at home where maybe you might be comfortable. And I don't even know their experience and all the perception I have. I mean, I've been to the Midwest and shit for a little bit, but it's not like I've lived or know those people's lives. But to be from here originally is like a really good feeling to know that I have everything at my fingertips if I wanted to.
Yeah. 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 Even if like you give up on everything, if you have to give up on everything, like you're still, well, I'll just go back to my normal day job still in Los Angeles.
Yeah, we're pretty fucking lucky. Sometimes I think like, what would it be like if I was born in Montana?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't know the difference, but then I would dream about these places. And then imagine dreaming about Hollywood and getting to Hollywood. I laugh about that shit all the time.
It's even better than I thought.
I'm like, look at the dirtiest sewer ever, and that's Hollywood. Okay, like,
wow, that's the biggest rat I've ever seen. Cool.
Is that a 2-story Hooters?
I've made it.
Laugh.
Yeah, but it's people coming here for the dreams. It's also people coming here just like, I think that I think my country sucks, and I think that America and California is pretty, like, I think I have a shot at just like having a life that from what I've heard sounds pretty nice, and like everyone is gunning it for like, I think I can hit my ideal there, and that's something about the city that I ran out of words.
You just reminded me though. My grandmother migrated here in the late 80s. My maternal grandmother.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I have an extra. She's like the queen in my eyes. Like she passed away in 2009, so rest in peace. But I have this utmost respect for her because that's a given, right? Like that's the narrative we know. You come here for your dreams. I had to interview her for like a Chicano studies class, like the freshman year in college, all about her migration story. And she said in Spanish, she's like, I didn't want to come. And I don't know, I'm like, you're just a bad bitch. Like, my grandma's not a bitch. Again, see, term of endearment, call my mom a bitch, but I don't mean it like that. I was interviewing her, and we have it somewhere in a tape somewhere. But she's like, I didn't want to come. She said, and my grandma was dramatic as well. The apples falling far from the trees and the roots. She said, when they brought me here, they tried taking me to a Chinese restaurant because in Mexicali, where she was from, Chinese food is also popping because there's Chinese migrated to Mexicali.
Right.
She said, they took me to try to impress me. She said, I fell asleep at the table. And I said, listen, when you know where you're from and you want to stay there, you fucking know. And like, obviously time passed and she settled and she was happy. But at first she's like, fuck LA. Like I was happy in Mexicali. I just came because all my kids came. So that's that.
The Chinese food was so below her standards that she fell asleep.
She said, and the way she like reacted it in the video too, she was a little older, obviously a lot older. Yeah. She was like acting it out essentially. She's like, I fell asleep on the table. Like she wanted me to know I was bored by Los Angeles and whatever it had to offer immediately. So for some, LA ain't shit, but you know, God bless those people.
Well, a tougher person than me for sure to be like, not a big deal, whatever.
So this was my big question I had for you. So as our current representative of East Los Angeles, being you, so say a white guy in his mid 30s.
What does he look like?
Long reddish hair, glasses, devilishly handsome. I know.
I don't know this guy.
I've never.
You had me lost. You had. I had somebody in my mind.
I guess my hair is more auburn. But so, say someone like this fabulous specimen, like moves to East Los Angeles or somewhere where most people don't necessarily look like this person. Mm-hmm. What is the balance? Because there's so much worry about like gentrifying neighborhoods and all this stuff. What is the balance of someone like that person moving into a neighborhood like that and being a good member of the community without ruining things?
Oh, that was a really big sigh. that was really dramatic.
I think I have my answer.
Yeah, the waves on my Audacity were going crazy for a second.
There's two parts to this question. Yeah. There's the activist youth me that's like, just stay out.
Quick answer.
The understanding of the ways that people are displaced, the people from LA have to move for, increasing rents and all that. That person who's responding thinks the balance is having a really big awareness of the community you're in and of the people in it and of your behaviors. So I think we had someone on the show named Josh Scherer, who is like a really big YouTuber. And I really like the way he said it, because I asked him if he could respond to criticism about being white and cooking foods that were cultural, and like people who are like, you're what is it called? You're appropriating or culture and food. And he said, I just think some people who are, I don't even know why I'm afraid to say this. Why am I saying this? White people need to have some
Whoa.
I was trying to find like a very calculated and strategic way. White people need to have shame when interacting in certain spaces.
Yeah.
And what he meant by that was just like not taking over and not giving credit where credit is due. And obviously we were talking about his specific situation and being a chef and all that.
Yeah.
Because I brought up that whole situation. I think it was in Echo Park where there was a restaurant selling Popeye's chicken with their chicken and waffles. And like at a way more expensive price. Look it up. It happened. So I brought that up. But yeah, I think the balance is just being aware. So for me, the way that I've experienced it is I've noticed the way I've gotten stared at in like certain spaces and certain coffee shops when there's like predominantly white folks in there and I walk in. It's kind of just like, so I think just an awareness. And then also, it's a tough question. You stumped me, and I'm usually not stumped. Okay,
we win.
I think just an overall awareness is super important, and just an understanding that if people are upset at you, it's just what it's going to be. Like if there are, because there's generations of like trauma that comes from being displaced. There's generations of trauma people experience migrating to the US, first of all, which like a lot of like LA is like a migrant community, or generations of folks who migrated. And so it's like a lot of people who are displacing, whether intentionally or unintentionally, because there are some folks who intentionally are like, we're fucking moving in and we're displaced. Like there's that matters too. But the impact always matters. So I think just that awareness and that patience, I think is what I would say would be most important. And then always supporting local, right? Like always, never trivializing it. We did have a coffee shop that I got into like a major internet fight with. I've never even been there since. And I know that like some activists apparently were accused of like breaking their window. I can neither confirm nor deny that I knew anybody. And I mean that jokingly. I really don't know who it was, but they moved in from Utah, I think, or somewhere. And they opened this coffee shop called Weird Wave. And they were like, soft opening, like they were taking pictures of the person selling fruit in front of the coffee shop and kind of like trivializing, like, look how cute, like that hustle isn't cute. And then they were like, oh, like soft opening on this day, you got to come to the side of the door. They were clearly not Spanish speakers, and like the word that you had to say at the side of the door to get in was like just disgustingly trivial, where it's like, make the word coffee, bro. Like why you gotta be saying some Spanish? I think it was like papi chulo, and it wasn't even that, because even that isn't as bad as what it originally was. It was like Pablo's here or something. I don't know. Something ridiculous like that. And I was just like, that's the wrong way to do it. It's the wrong way. And I know community.
I'm gonna write that down.
Is that gonna be the password to your apartment?
This is new Wi-Fi password.
Pablo.
I think the easiest way, I think, right now to answer that question, but it's never an easy way, is literally just awareness, because there's some people who just roll in and try to take over and are just rude or trivialize or move people of color aside, and that is like, you're a guest here. And at the end of the day, we're all guests, because this is also native land, but that's not something that I'm like super ocean saying, right? But it's like, we're also like inhabiting this land that really isn't ours. Shout out to the Tongva people.
Shout out. Yeah, that's always something like, because I'm from Echo Park, so I've seen it change massively over the years. And there are people that are like, oh, we're going to turn this old gas station into a restaurant, and like that's a problem. But somebody who wants to come and contribute to our community and just wants to like help out, any local vendors, or like there's somebody who came by to do a lot of graphics for the school with the cat. Like that's great. Like if you want to contribute to the community that's already here and not try to change anything, that's perfect. But if you want to come and like, I'm going to turn this into a this, like, oh, that's bad. You're not from here, and that's kind of.
If a cat were a tiger,
I would hate that.
And that this conversation is also super nuanced, right? Like I said, I've had instances where I'm like, that might have been a little too far, but then I have to check myself where I'm like, I don't know. I explained to you all, my grandpa migrated and had a mentor or whoever that told him to buy land, and I'm in a different situation. I can't speak for the people that have been like displacement is violence a lot of times, right? Folks are left without a home and like without so much. And so that's why I have to check myself and just be aware too, because I have privilege when it comes to folks who don't have families who migrated here earlier and own land,
Same here, yeah. And don't you hate nuanced situations? You have to be like a case.
One thing the show has taught me too. They let me say whatever the fuck I want, but I try to like do my research, and I'm like, listen, everything is nuanced. Like everything is subjective. Yeah. Can't be a representative. Like, I mean, obviously you're like right now you're a rep for East LA, but I'm like I'm gonna get fucking burned at the stake.
The second you turn the Zoom off, there's a crowd outside your door.
There's gonna be a fucking knock on my door. But yeah, everything has so many sides to the story. But what I do know is that like blatant disrespect is one thing, and you could see it. You could see it. You know it when you see it.
Yeah, it's got a taste to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said taste, so Daniel got hungry. Sorry.
Yeah,
I gotta go to dinner.
I'm thinking about taco carnitas al momo or whatever.
I'm gonna go support them. Be like, hey Billy, fuck Laura, huh?
I'm thinking of these white supremacist carnitas that you were talking about.
I don't remember the rest of what she was saying. I just remember the carnitas part. Sorry.
Wait, real quick. My mom was upset. My mom is like the one who will watch my episodes every fucking week. She is like my number one fan. And the first text I had from her when I went to my phone after being on Do Not Disturb was, you didn't ask them what their favorite tacos were. And I asked that question every time, and she was upset. She knows the layout of the show so well. She was like, you fucked up. You got too drunk, and you didn't ask them what their favorite tacos were. So we might need to give that to Norma, okay? We might need to ask that. Know that.
Okay, I have answers. Okay,
warn her that I'm more of a burrito person. I always we've discussed this on the show before, and I always have to be like I recuse myself from the question, and I come at you with a burrito.
A taco is a sample of a burrito that I'm going to have later.
More of everything.
Wrap this thing up. Yeah, a lot of my family saw the live stream, and I didn't know they were all going to watch. Somebody just shared a link, and so a lot of my family watched. And they're like, They're like, you could drink more beer than that. I'm like, probably.
Oh my gosh, I haven't gone back to watch it. I usually go back to watch a little bit of the episodes, and I'm like, I don't even want to see myself.
I skimmed by, and I looked really sweaty. I'm like, I'm not going to watch this. Why would I watch that? I've seen myself drunk before. It's not great.
You're telling me.
How do I get out of this room? Would remind me? It's the right button, right?
There's no leaving this room.
You're the host. You can't leave.
You got to put in Pablo in the chat, and you can leave.
Get out.
Get out.
Well, the only other question I have is just where everyone can find everything that you do, just so they know explicitly.
So my Instagram is @HungryInEastLos. What else do I have? Wow, on YouTube.
LA Taco Live. Maybe.
Right, yeah, you can find YouTube.com/LA Taco. I am the host of the LA Taco Live show, but I also, we're actually going to wrap up a series that I loved. I did a series sponsored by White Claw called Hanging with Taqueros. Yeah. So I'm also the host of that series where we visit taco trucks and learn about the people making the tacos.
Oh, it's fun.
It's a great series. I've seen a couple of them. They're really great.
It's a lot of fun too. It's a good time. Yeah. That's actually how I started like the whole video work with LA Taco, which was hilarious. Like, you want to host a series? I was like, sure. It's been awesome. So yeah, youtube.com/LA Taco, Hungry in Islos. I'm also on Twitter @Laura de Islos. What else? Let me look at my phone. What else am I? I'm on TikTok, also Hungry in Islos. Okay. I don't really TikTok, but I'm starting to. I'm really
Okay.
late.
Let us
but yeah,
know
I'm
how it goes and if it's fun.
Yeah.
We're curious, so let us know.
Yeah, we'll be
I'm
even
so
later
late.
than you.
I refused to join during the pandemic the same way I refused to bake banana bread. I refused to do any of those challenges. And then
You're
I don't
making
know
me
who told
hungry
me.
again.
Late last year, someone was like, "You're not on TikTok," and I was like, "Fuck." I guess
I
it's
just
not.
got a
I guess
Vine.
the youth is calling. You know,
Yeah.
But I only have like 75 followers, so I'm trying to go viral. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll check on that. Yeah.
Could we still do Periscope?
Remember that? I don't think I ever joined it. That's the one where you could like just switch live shit, right?
I think Periscope lasted for like 2 weeks.
But like, what was the one people got really popular on Vine?
Vine,
I did
yeah.
not know how to make a Vine
Yeah.
for the life of me.
I loved watching them, and I sat there with a little notebook, like, okay, here are my 100 Vine ideas. And the page was blank. I never joined Vine.
Yeah, but that's where you can find me.
Okay, great.
All right.
Well, thank you so
Well,
much for
thanks.
being on our show. It was a pleasure, and I hope we get to chat again and watch a certain member of our quartet get monstrously drunk.
Listen, we're having you back on the show. Like, if we
Love
don't,
to.
I'm fighting everybody because this needs to be a common thing. Like, it was such. I just want to keep learning from y'all. I felt like I was in school again, but like drinking.
So it's
Everybody's
school
street.
again.
Yeah. Just like school.
It was so. Thank you all so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having us and for doing this also.
Yes, of course. Y'all didn't answer my taco question. I don't know if we have more time.
Okay. I'm going to
My
give.
mom's waiting. She's waiting for the text. She knew I was going to talk to y'all tonight.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
right next to the computer.
I have my question, my answer ready to go. So
Okay.
I'm only going to talk burritos, and my favorite. I love chili relleno burrito.
Uh-huh.
There's the Cactus Taqueria on Woodman in Sherman Oaks is good, but they have vermin. So the one on Laurel Canyon
And the vermin
is good
doesn't
to
taste
go
that
to.
good.
But I also like the one from Las Fuentes and Reseda.
It's a good choice.
Listen, you're introducing me to these places that I never frequent or go to, but the
You
best
gotta
one
get-
in LA is the La Azteca Tortilleria. If you're ever in the
Yes.
Where's that?
Yes, it is. East LA. Cedar
Oh,
Chocolate.
to my
East
house.
Okay.
It's on. I shouldn't have said that. Bleep that out. It's on Ford. It's near Ford and Cesar Chavez.
I will be there.
That is
Tonight.
one,
Yep.
that is one of my favorites. Leo's Tacos is one of my favorites. Al Pastor
tried it
Taco.
yet.
Oh,
I haven't
it's
tried it.
It's so good. It's the one I like. There's two, I think, or maybe three. But Glendale and Temple, it's the one closest to me, and that one I shouldn't say
Okay.
that is delicious. And Yuca's in Los Feliz is delicious too, and I've been really digging that.
I've heard about you guys too.
Yuca's is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all. I kind of took over for a second. My bad. I needed
No,
to know.
no, please. You're so much of a better host than either one of us. So thank you. I appreciate
Never.
it. Okay, Laura, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
the
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it too.